going to have, I think, 4 2-minute rounds of boxing. It'll be like, they're not going to fight each other, you won't see any blood and guts, I'm sorry about that, but you'll see a very high level of skill between 2 very experienced and very accomplished female boxers, Camille Currie and Alicia Ashley. Ding! So first that would have hit here. I'll be the commentator now. Alicia is a southpaw, which means she leads with her right hand. Camille is an orthodox boxer who uses her hands. Most people find this southpaw style very awkward to fight, but Camille becomes a bit more used to it with Alicia because it's calming. Time! Woo! This is when you go to the corner and spit in the bucket.
Time.
Anywhere in the world, that was some of the most skillful moves you'll ever get to see. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I think we've got a little bit of time for if you've got any questions. Yeah.
Yes, I have a question. Is it Alicia or Alicia? Alicia. She's Camille's your protege, so her style is pretty similar. You're both boxers, you're not brawlers, although you seem to be a little more of a counterpuncher. I was just wondering if you're boxing someone who has a style similar to yours. I know you're really not supposed to change your style, but if you want to throw them off guard, have you changed your style?
Yes, because a lot of people know me as a counter puncher and as a mover. And the one thing that I've added to my training is being able to stand right in on the inside, because that's something that you don't expect. It's not that I totally change it, I just added more things. You have to change it if the person knows what you're doing. You can always do the same thing, because if there's a beating, if you do it again and again, somebody's going to learn it. So you have to be able to change. I came into this game from karate and kickboxing. When I started out as orthodox. Because when I came into boxing, they said you're left-handed, you should be southpaw. So I'm able to switch, and everyone knows me as a southpaw, that I can fight orthodox if I need to. And that happens because now I will go forward. Instead of me switching right away, I stay in that stance and box in that stance. And then when I'm comfortable, I can go back out. So the more you can do, the better.
I got kind of like a strange question, I guess. It was something based on the film. I want to know all of your opinions on it. Where I can't remember which boxer it was, but she was talking about how like she likes to wear skirts and have her hair long and like basically kind of be like a cute boxer. And do you guys like encounter that a lot? And what are, because I know it's like you're wearing your skirt too, so I didn't mean to like make this directed, but like what are your thoughts on it?
When I'm in the gym, I don't even think about it. I'm like in the baggiest clothes and train, and then I come out and they're like, she's in a skirt, you know. You know, it's in the gym. It's not really so noticeable. You know? Yeah, you can dress up. And we have the glamour girl here, Fire. She's also a professional boxer. And she's, you know, one of the most fashionable women, you know, and it's
Fire's far unless she's color coordinated. She has to be.
But
I train them on skirts.
so it's, you know, it's what your preference is.
Okay.
And the thing is, the best thing for me is when I walk on the street and no one knows I'm a boxer.
Yeah.
And I say that I'm a boxer, and they're like, what, an aerobic boxer? You know,
Yeah.
I'm a professional boxer, and that's a shock to them.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, that's the best compliment I can ever get. I don't want to look like a boxer.
Okay.
When I first met you, I told everyone. But clearly, if you look at her and look at me, very different. And right? Am I right? I mean, I'm willing to say that. Look at this goddess here. Okay, so the thing is, we represent a kind of privilege. And I want to come to the idea that if there's anybody out there who's interested in boxing and what it may do for her or him on an individual level, don't be intimidated by this. Look at this and think to yourself,
I think actually, I write too, that there's no one type of boxer, male or female boxer. I mean, it's an extension of who you are. And Alicia it's a self-expression. So Camille, it's who you are. So if you don't want to wear a skirt in a boxing ring, then you don't. But if you do, well, great. I mean, that's just an extension of your identity. There's no type, even among females. I think that it's people think when they think you're a boxer, they think you should look like Sylvester Stallone in Rocky 1, with a flat nose. And so they can't believe that a gorgeous-looking female who's feminine could possibly be a boxer. But it's got little to do with that, really. I mean, Sylvester Stallone's got a lot to answer for.
But a lot of the women I interviewed in my book who spar with the coach that I had learned from don't want to even spar. They don't want to be in the ring, and they really don't want to spar. Sparring would typically mean putting on some headgear. They didn't wear headgear tonight. But you're protected, because the question often comes up, isn't this a violent sport? And there is violence in it. But there's also different levels you can take it, depending upon what your goals are. So some of the women that box at some of the women's gyms and women's boxing franchises are doing pad work, they're doing training, they're doing, other kinds of stuff. So there's a huge range.
Women's boxing is becoming very popular in places south of the border, shall we say, in Mexico, Argentina, and there are some fighters who are actually American fighters who are actually going to Mexico to get quality fights. Is that something you're considering, Alicia or Camille, longer term?
My entire career, I've been on the road.
Right.
I started out on the road. I've been to, Argentina. I've been to Germany, Austria, even North Korea. And it's only in the last few years that I actually got fights in New York. Because a lot of the promoters really didn't want to put on female fights. They didn't think it was much of a draw. So it was hard getting a fight here. So my career was on the road. I'm actually going back on the road because it's easier for me to fight there. It's fighters fighting here, and the one thing we have to do is we have to sell tickets. We have to sell our tickets for our purse and the person that's coming in, if they're not a local person. So that's one of the hard things if you're not on a promoter's card, or and which majority of us aren't. It's just now that they're starting to put one female on each of their card because they're seeing that we're so much of a draw now, and it's taken them here that long to realize it. But in Mexico, in all the other countries that I've gone and fought, we were headliners. My fight have always been on television when I've gone away, not here in the USA. So that's the discrepancy that's really shocking for USA being the dominance of boxing.
It's a myth. Yeah. I was fooled for a little while because there's so many great fighters here. I mean, you have to assume that it's big here, but there's just the support among the promoters and the broadcasters, and they're missing a great. I mean, New York's missing out on seeing that, and Camille, and it's just a shame.